Alright, so this is going to be our first attempt, I guess?
Well, it's not our second.
That's awkward of you to say. This is Vinecast. There's going to be no video for this. I'm Rev. I'm joined by Jin and Fear Gingers, also known as Sean.
Hey.
So,
It's very natural. We got a bunch of different stuff that we're going to talk about. We're going to try and get to all of it and hopefully actually do this in a semi-professional way. But, you know, it's Vine Sauce, so yeah. Anyway, first off, we're going to be talking about the Xbox One and the stuff that went on with that and some of the rumors and confirmations that we've had since the release. We're going to compare all the three systems now that we actually know something about all of them. We're going to talk about some stuff with Greenlight, some stuff that we have seen that looks good. And then we're going to talk about some upcoming games that we're interested in. And then we're going to end it out with just kind of some last thoughts, stuff like that. This is our pilot attempt at this, so we kind of don't know what the hell we're doing. But hopefully this will be good. But yeah, who wants to start us off?
Oh, well, I guess I will.
Okay.
Okay. So, next generation of consoles is coming up soon, and Microsoft has already unveiled its new Xbox One. Wii U, of course, has already been released and has been around for a little while, so people know what that's like. And then the PlayStation 4 is hiding in the shadows. They haven't had their official release yet, and it's still speculative on what it looks like. And there hasn't been much official confirmation, but you've got enough of the details that you can make a comparison. You can also get a look at its technical specs, like its CPU and various stuff, and at the moment it's looking like it's generally better than the Xbox One in terms of performance, but we'll talk about that later. So yeah, the press conference Microsoft did not go down that well. I know a lot of people watched it because it was available online to see, and you could hear a lot of cheering when they were talking about, oh, here's what we're going to do, and we've partnered with the NFL and all that, but the press are constantly saying that the only people cheering were the actual employees of Microsoft and not them, for various reasons, which we'll talk about.
I rewatched the PlayStation 4 announcement, and there's some cheering. It's not as loud. It's just sort of like we're being polite sort of cheering. The stuff at the Xbox One felt a little weird. Can we just start off by talking about like the Xbox One's name? Like
Xbox One.
That's like the most asinine thing to do ever. It's like, okay, so you've got the Xbox 360, and then what comes next? The Xbox One.
Yeah, they had the original Xbox, and then when Sony released the PlayStation 2, they didn't want to call it the Xbox 2.
Yeah.
Or, no, that was it. When Sony released the PlayStation 3, they didn't want to call their Xbox the Xbox 2 because it would make them seem like they're behind, so they called it 360. And now they've just gone, well, we'll just call it the Xbox One. Who cares? You know, whatever.
Right, but that's just like... why would you... So what do I call the Xbox? The first one? Just the Xbox? The fat thing? That
the
humongous...
Xbox original Xbox, whatever.
That's just...
generally people call that a paperweight.
Yeah, that's just annoying, honestly. But, you know, I guess that's the least of our concerns, honestly. The Xbox conference was like an hour long. The PlayStation 4 one was about 2. But they didn't really... At the PlayStation... Well, let's talk about the Xbox One first. There's plenty of time to compare how these things are. Jesus. So I guess there's so much. I mean, I got to start off by saying that I did have a 360. I've had several 360s, as most people who have had a 360
Yeah.
due. I sent it in for repairs. Like I think it was 3 different Xbox 360s I have. So I really, really want to be I really want to be non-biased, but like I'm trying to think of nice things to say about the Xbox One. Not all these things, I guess, are confirmed. Some of them are, which is kind of ugly.
Yeah.
So I'll try and end it with a nice note, but
Yeah.
let's see. You've got this. There was this article from The Verge saying the Xbox One game discs are only used for initial. What is this?
This is right. With the 360, when they had the first 360 come out, and it was like overheating and breaking all the time, as you just said. I mean, like when I had mine died literally after 24 hours. I took it back, like I bought it, took it back the next day, and had to get a new one on the spot.
Yeah.
But they released the ability on the newer operating systems. I think it's like the 4th generation of the operating system. They released the ability to install your games onto the hard drive, which saves on the processing power, so it'll load quicker and you don't have to load it from the disk. Now, what they're doing for the new Xbox is that's going to be mandatory. You don't have the choice of running it from the disk or the hard drive. You have to run it from your hard drive. So they're going to use Blu-ray discs to store all the data, and they're giving you, I think it's a 500 gig hard drive, which comes with it. And that's going to store all your games. So when you first put your game in, it has to install onto your hard drive. And it will tie it with your account, because you'll have an Xbox Cloud, which is, I think it's called the Azure system or something like that. And you'll have your game tied to that specific account of you.
Right.
With the CD key and everything. Now,
and then there's this,
yeah.
So it kind of sounds like there's some sort of code or something that's involved when you buy the game, so that way you can enter that in for your account. And then if a friend wants to come over with his game to play it on your Xbox, he's got to sign into his account, or else you have to rebuy the game for your account. Each account needs to buy it, which means that used games, if you pick up, Call of Duty, whatever the hell number it's going to be, Call of Duty Ghost or whatever, and you buy that used because someone will sell it back. You buy it at GameStop for like $30 or whatever, and it's retailing for $60. You buy it for $30 at GameStop. Then when you get home, you've got to buy it on your Xbox again for $60.
It's like
from the sounds of it, that actually
seems
confirmed.
Yeah.
My question is, Xbox, what are you doing?
Microsoft, what the fuck are you thinking with this? Is this some kind of weird, like, psychological terror you're trying to inflict upon us? Because this is
a really horrific business move on like 80 different levels. I mean, obviously that's like very anti-consumer. It's also really anti-GameStop, and I know that sounds like yay, but that's really, really gonna push GameStop to try and convince publishers not to make their games for. I mean, GameStop still has some power in the market as far as stuff goes. That's why we have a lot of pre-order bonuses, because it confirms sales. It makes sure that a sale will go through, so they don't have to buy all these games and then not sell them, and then sell them for a discount, which they don't make as much money. I mean, it will encourage publishers in a way, because then they know that they're not losing money. I really don't know how that's going to affect what publishers want to do, but
with this system, not long ago there was a lot of talk about how the pre-owned games thing is killing the business because they don't make any money off it.
Right.
And I'm not sure whether it's just Microsoft want to control it and it's almost like their version of DRM, but they can also make money off this system. Like,
oh, of course,
it's really really dark, and they haven't confirmed it yet, because they've confirmed lots of other things, but this is all just rumors, especially about the fee thing. Like in the UK, it's meant to be £35, but no one's really sure where that number came from or how accurate that is.
Yeah.
But they might be holding back on it because it's not a very good system. But from what we can tell, like looking around online, is that places like GameStop, they'll have a system which they can opt into and they can choose to be part of. And that will register their particular shop with the Xbox Online Azure cloud system. So when you take your game back to them and you say, I've played this game so much it's just boring now, can I sell it? They go, yeah, sure. Now
here's $1.
Details. Yeah, here's $1. It's we're gonna need your details, so you have to give them your Xbox account. No, I don't think you have to give them the password, but you have to give them your name and everything. And they will access your account and take the game off of it. So it won't be registered to you. So that game will be registered to no one. And then that game will be listed as like pre-owned or whatever, and they can sell it again. Now, I don't even know, because someone was mentioning this and then various other people said no. This might bypass the fee, because the fee might be like if you borrow a disc to someone else and it's already on your account, then they have to pay so that it's on 2 different accounts. The fee thing might be bypassed in this case because it's taken off, but it might still be active. I'm really not sure about that. But what does happen is because of this system, GameStop or whoever opts into it has to agree for every transaction that they take and sell of pre-owned games, maybe just sell, Microsoft and the Microsoft publishers gain a percentage of each transaction, and I think it's 10% and it's mandatory. So if they sold a pre-owned game for £20 in the UK or $30, then Microsoft would make like £5 or $3 or whatever it is. Yeah, off every transaction they make. So that's how they can make money. It's also how they can control that portion of the market, rather than being so unpredictable and everyone trades in their games at the same time. They can see how many stores have what stock at any point, and they can, to some extent, control how much of that stock is sold.
This is, I mean, just like with anything, this is going to get bypassed and hacked like as soon as people have their hands on it. You just know that there's going to be a workaround within the month, and just because that's just so insane, I don't even know what Microsoft is doing on that. But and the price thing is kind of like sketchy. Techno Buffalo reported the same sort of thing. They were saying pretty much exactly what you just said as far as the price goes. So there's going to be some fee. We know that much, but we don't know
what's actually going on. Yeah,
we don't know
the
the
only thing
cost. Now. Harrison, Phil Harrison, he did kind of back down on some of that. Let's see, where is this? So I think it was just he may have said something that they didn't want said just yet. They're definitely playing damage control on that. First off, Major Nelson, that's a real name?
No, that's his gamer tag thing, I think. But he's some important guy at Microsoft.
I just try and stay away from Microsoft as much as possible. He says there will be further updates, so we might have to revisit this. I don't know.
He has said
that they even are acknowledging it as like an actual thing means that there's something like that happening. Maybe it's not like they're just going. It's not some guy on Reddit or something going, "Oh, they're going to do this." It's like people from Microsoft actually said this.
Yeah.
They've
had
moving on to. I mean, oh my God.
I know. There's just like so much you can talk about it, but Microsoft are being really, really shy on it, and they're not saying anything. The only thing they have said is like from that Major Nelson guy. He said like over the past few days we've been reading comments and messages following the Xbox One announcement. There are a few questions regarding used games, and I want to clarify. Provided this official statement. And his statement was something like, the ability to trade in and resell games is important to gamers and to Xbox. Xbox One is designed to support and trade in and resale of games. Reports about our policies for trade in and resale are inaccurate and incomplete, but we'll disclose more information in the future. So he's saying that a lot of the stuff we think we know is actually wrong, but we know there's going to be a fee. It's just like how they go about it and how much it costs, and they're just saying, yeah, you're wrong.
But it at least is acknowledgement that that is somewhat legitimate. It's not just some bullshit someone came up with. And that's just kind of scary.
Sometimes I feel like they throw hypotheticals at us just to see how we'll react, and then if we don't react accordingly, which we never will, because their ideas as a whole are terrible, that they sort of tone them down just enough to make them sort of acceptable. And that's when they're like, okay, this is actually how it's going to be. And then we're just like, well, you've already scared us quite a bit.
It could have been worse.
It could have been so much worse, but yeah.
I think there is some like truth to that, especially with like EA and Microsoft and stuff like that. They do seem to like, hey guys, what do you guys think about, you know, DRM on everything? No.
Yeah.
How about on just some things? We'll talk about that shit in a minute too. Oh my god.
Well, yeah. Speaking of DRM, then let's move on to the next one.
Do you want to move on to
the mandatory installation of your disk onto the hard drive? It is also mandatory now that you have to buy the Kinect with the Xbox One. It comes in the same package. You can't buy them separately. And you have to use the Kinect at all times.
It has to be plugged in.
Might not necessarily be used, but it has to be connected.
Right.
So that's them talking about the Kinect. It's all the articles and stuff online are generally quoting that the Kinect is always listening, is always present.
And that goes into another kind of creepy thing. It's always listening. I mean, you can say Xbox turn on, so even when it's off, somehow it's listening to you. And then what's this about the MPAA is actually going? They're going to be reporting some of the stuff you're doing to the MPAA.
This isn't confirmed, but it's possible because Microsoft have put a patent in for this technology that they can register how many people are in a. Say, for example, you get a movie off Netflix,
right?
And you're watching a movie and you're watching it with your family because the Xbox is, you know, it's central to the living room and it's a multimedia box, which is what they're going for.
Yeah.
And the Kinect is always on and it registers, hang on, there's 3 people watching this and you've got 1 account. They have patented or applied for a patent for technology that can register how many people in a room and adjust the charge proportionally to that. So you have to pay extra for every person watching a movie at any time. But it hasn't been confirmed at all that they will do so. It's just that it's possible.
They can. They have the patent on this. So they can do that if they feel like it. God help us. Let's hope they don't do that just because that's ridiculous. But yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Not really.
Yeah.
It's not creepy at all.
Yeah, some sites are comparing this to like 1984. I think that's kind of it's somewhere between accurate and maybe hyperbolic. Where with the telescreens that are always watching you, checking in on your behavior, making sure you're good. It sounds a little hyperbolic, but it's kind of close to actually what's going on. I mean, it's supposed to be for convenience sake, but, you know, there's a lot of stuff that's been called convenient or stuff for convenience sake that just is not. I think, wasn't EA talking about how the always online DRM was actually going to be very convenient because it would involve less storage on your side?
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, this is just kind of something they do.
And then the whole debacle was SimCity, and oh my god, that was so terrible. I can't even understand it.
That's a whole fucking discussion in of itself.
Jesus.
Yeah. I heard quite a bit about that, of the people that had bought it. It was pretty much kind of like Diablo 3 all over again.
And then we've got this thing about the UK IGN branch of, I guess, whatever. Anyway,
Yeah.
they're saying that indie devs can't self-publish on Xbox One. Um, how long is this list of horrible things that we've made? And
I think we're like halfway through or something like that.
uh, oh, oh.
But the indie dev thing, I read up on this. This is
So
the current system they have is Xbox Live Arcade.
and it's
you know?
already very predatory. It's
Yeah.
already very difficult to use the service from what I was talking about with Carbon James in my AirMech interview. Um, it sounds like it's already kind of difficult to use the indie functions
Yeah.
of
It's
Xbox
also
Live.
really expensive. I've
Yeah.
seen someone talked about it. I can't remember who, but they were talking about how their PC version of the game has loads of updates and the Xbox One doesn't. And people were saying, "Why is this?" And he goes, well, you see, every time you bring out an update, which forces a download, so you have to download to play the new game, it costs something like £40,000 for every single one of them because you have to send it to every Xbox or something. That's why they don't do it. They just don't
Yeah.
have the funds.
And that's what the Fez developer said. Now, Carbon James did kind of counter that by going, well, that's just kind of, you expect that as it's not as bad as all that. He's blowing it out of proportion.
Mm.
There, just go listen to that if you if you want to. But it's already pretty bad. And then now they're saying with the Xbox One, you can't self-publish. You actually have to go through. You have to sign a contract with Xbox to have it, or with Microsoft Game Studios, to actually get your game on Xbox Live. I mean, it will stop stuff like No Luco No or whatever that was called.
Yeah.
But
Well, this is like very similar. It pretty much is the system they have already. That if you want a game which is on Xbox Live Arcade, which is their main area for games, you have to go through an official Microsoft Game Studios or a third-party publisher that will take a cut of every sale to put your game on there. But there is the whole Xbox Live indie games. Problem with that is, although I think you can self-publish on that, the amount of money that you'll make off that is so minimal. It's tiny compared to what you'd make on the actual Xbox Live Arcade thing.
mhm.
So it's either like do it on your own and make nothing, or sign a contract with these guys and make something,
Sort
but
of
they'll have the
maybe.
contract.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, like, there have been some, I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about the Xbox Live Arcade as far as what's actually good on there. Like I said, after the third 360, I was just like, you know what, screw this. I'm not dealing with this anymore. So I honestly don't know if there's a whole lot of good stuff in the arcade. I know indie games have been, kind of nice recently.
Mm.
But I really just, this is not a good idea.
Oh,
It's like
it
you
is.
can't just publish. You can't punish publishers. You can't just punish everyone. It's like, so far we've been talking about people who want to watch movies, maybe with this whole MPAA thing. If you buy used games, so that's bad for consumers, and then maybe some small mom and pop sort of GameStop-esque places. Indies can't publish here. Like, okay, does anyone stop?
Wait, can we also talk about the fact that the Xbox One looks like a VCR?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen what the PS4 looks like, granted, but it's kind of I mean, I don't know. I've got the original Xbox sitting here behind me, and that thing's pretty damn ugly as well. The 360 was, I guess, okay.
It was better, I guess.
I mean, better than the Xbox original. I can't even say the Xbox One anymore. God damn it. um, it is not the most. The controller looks very wonky. For the Xbox One. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, I've heard some reviews and seen some people talk about some stuff about it. Apparently, the vibration feature is actually kind of a nice thing. That vibration, what they were saying was if you were playing something like Call of Duty, instead of having that bloody screen, you got hit from this side thing. Uh, since both of the motors work individually, you can have it so that way the motor vibrates on whichever side you got hit from. So it's a little bit
Yeah.
more natural. So they were saying that was a good thing. They didn't have any confirmation of what those two buttons replacing back and start are. Um,
One was share, but you don't know what it does. Um, However, you could speculate because they've mentioned that the Xbox will be like a DVR and it'll record everything you're doing, like everything you're playing. I
right.
don't know if it record what you're watching, like TV and shit, but it
Mhm.
will record everything you play on your game. And it's speculated that if you press the share button, you'll be able to like take a screenshot of what you're doing or like a 5-second video or something, and you'll be able to upload it to your account or to anything that's associated with maybe your YouTube account. I don't know how well Google and Microsoft mix, but be able to save videos and stuff and then share it with your friends and say, "Hey, look, headshot, man, 360 no scope," and stuff
Yeah.
like that with the
Uh,
share button. I
yeah.
guess that's the same on the PS4 because they've also got a share button.
Yeah. The weird Xbox logo thing, although it looks flatter on the new controller, actually is the same thing as the current Xbox 360 button thing there. That just kind of does all your just random non-in-game menu
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
like messing with your achievements and talking to people on whatever that stuff. That's what it still does that. So the two other buttons, one's share and the other one, I don't know what it is. So we kind of don't know what that is, which is kind of an awkward thing to say. They say that it's charged. It doesn't have a battery in the same way that like the Xbox 360 has two AA batteries sort of thing going on.
This one's still 2 AA.
Is it two AA still?
Yeah.
Okay. I was hearing something about that you could charge it via USB. Um, and then there's this mysterious, weird little port that they really haven't talked about. It kind of looks like the 360's headphone jack. Oh
Yeah.
God, and we need to talk about that. You
Oh,
can't
yeah.
use. You have to use Microsoft only. Like Microsoft made microphones with it. You could kind of work around that, if I recall correctly, with the 360. Uh, but it was.
Because we all know how quality their microphones
Oh,
and headsets were. Quality, right?
quality.
You're like
Quality.
using them, they weren't that bad. My biggest problem with their headsets was just they're made of like it's like triple recycled plastic or something. The shit breaks so easily. Like just
Yeah.
talking into the microphone would probably break it.
Yeah, and this comes from IGN, by the way. I just wanted to say who was saying that. Yeah. And then we got one other thing in this little list. Um, Live TV, U.S. only at launch, and if you actually care about this TV thing, there's a separate device you have to buy. Oh,
Okay.
and you can't get it in any other country other than the U.S. at launch.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, they made such a big deal about TV because now they're all just like, now you can watch TV on your television. And just talking about TV for about the first 20 minutes of their presentation and how
Yeah.
they've signed a major partnership deal with NFL so you can watch the Super Bowl on your Xbox. But to do the whole thing, it's only available to North America
Right.
on launch day. So the UK and the UK will eventually get it. They're planning a global rollout, and with the UK, they'll make deals with Sky, which is what we over here, which is B Sky B or something like that. They'll be making deals with them and Verizon or something like that. But that's it. They're planning on doing it, and they'll make deals with people, but they're not going to do it from this straight away. It's just going to be America at the beginning.
And they seem like you were saying, saying 20 minutes seems like an understatement. I think it could have been longer than that. They were just talking about, look, you can watch The Price is Right. I have 2 watches. Like, just what is this? And then
Yeah.
they're saying, you've got this quote here: live TV will require a supported receiver device with HDMI output. Microsoft. This is from VG247.com. Oh, I don't want this, but why do you spend so much of your conference talking about a thing that's a peripheral that you have to buy separately?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it might be like, it says live TV. You might be able to get pre-recorded stuff that you can download like it's through Netflix or everything. Whether you'll have to pay for extra for this as well. This is the stupid thing, because like
Yeah.
Microsoft Xbox Live is a subscription service, and it's always been like that since the start. But it's got subscription services inside its subscription service. So if you want to watch Netflix, you have to pay extra on top of what you're already paying. So it might be like that with live TV. It's like, oh, you can watch the NFL. I'm willing to bet it's like 99% chance that's going to happen. That you're going to have to pay for every sport season, whatever, to watch, because NFL's not going to make any money otherwise.
And then let's get to this brings us to, I think, like the most like ugly thing, as if any of those things were not bad. And this does come from Kotaku, who we know has quality reporting skills, but they did do an interview, so yeah. Anyway, they're talking to Phil Harrison, who seems like he probably shouldn't talk. The Microsoft's vice president. They're saying you have to. Kotaku specifically asked him, if I'm playing a single-player game, do I have to be online at least once per hour or something like that? Can I go weeks and weeks? And Harrison says, I believe it's 24 hours. I'd have to connect online once every day. Correct. You have to have Xbox Live.
Yeah.
Even if you play only single-player games, even if you're a complete shut-in, you don't like people, you don't want to see people, you just want to play your Xbox, and that's it. You have to buy a subscription.
Well, this ties in with the pre-owned thing, because if you buy an Xbox One, you're not going to be able to play it offline at all, because then you could just borrow your friend's disc, go home, unplug the router, and then just stick it in and play. No, you have to sign into your account and have that account tied to that game so that they can see what you're playing and whatnot, which is probably why they need you to connect every 24 hours in case you take that game down to the local GameStop, trade it in, they take it off your account, that doesn't update until the next time you go online. So then if you stay offline, you've still got that thing tied to your account.
And that's probably the case. Now, I think there was more backpedaling from this as well. Microsoft's telling Polygon, this is the same interview, I believe, that we were talking about earlier, that Major whatever the hell was talking, trying to cover up what Phil was talking about. And they basically said, well, this is one potential scenario. This could be a thing we might want to do. Again, I think this is kind of along what Jen was saying, was like, is this alright, guys? Are you going to get mad at us? Can we spin this in a way that sounds alright? Or is this going to be an issue?
I mean, it's so bad. The Xbox One sounds so bad right now, just from the things that are rumors and the things that could possibly be true. I'm almost beginning to think it's some kind of like conspiracy theory, Microsoft against itself, to just so they don't have to keep making shitty consoles that they don't really want to put any more money into, and they just will get people to buy computers instead. Like, I'm so serious.
It sounds like they are just trying to expand their market base so that they can get into, well, they kept using the living room is the most central room of the house all the time in that presentation. So they're trying to expand into the living room and basically like replace your skybox or cable box or whatever you have in America.
Yeah.
So they want this Xbox to be part of what your living room is, whether you need it for games or not. It's got all these other services that it can offer. Problem is, it's kind of like it's not really about games anymore. It's more about these things. So that's why the tech specs, which you've seen so far, are not as powerful as you'd expect it to be. It's kind of like the graphics card is mid-range. It's
Yeah,
not above mid-range, and they purposely chose that.
let's definitely compare this against the PS3 and the Wii real quick. Do we have the stats of the Wii or?
I don't have the stats of the Wii myself.
Okay.
I've got the 360, the Xbox One, and the PlayStation 4.
Okay, let's just compare the PlayStation 4 versus the Xbox One, just so that way we can see. It doesn't seem too different. I mean, before we get into this, it's important to say that like the stats of a console are different. Like even if it's the same parts, act differently in the machine than they would if they were in a computer, because it's designed to work smoothly with exactly these parts. So it might run a little bit smoother theoretically.
Mm.
So keep that in mind. Yes, some of these are fairly low. I'm actually surprised. Here on this, it says that the okay, so both of they're 8 cores on both the Xbox One and the PS4.
Yeah.
But the Xbox One and and then again the PS4 both have 1.6 gigahertz estimated, which is in comparison to the Xbox 360, which is 3.2 gigahertz. Is it just because they've got a hell of a lot more cores? Is that what they're going for?
I think what it is, I don't know how true this is. I think the PlayStation 4 has something like 7 or 8 single-threaded cores, and then the Xbox One has 3 dual-threaded.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a slower speed, but it's got more cores or something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really sure, but everything seems to be not as powerful as the PlayStation 4. Like someone said, it's like 50% more powerful than the Xbox.
Yeah, and they seem like they were really trying to, with all the stuff they were talking about, they were like, you can watch a movie, download another movie, talk to your friend on Skype about how you're watching movies and not playing video games, all at the same time. It seems like you'd want a lot of cores for that, just to make things run a little smoother. But
That's where the RAM comes in.
Yeah, we don't have the, do we have the RAM? On the
RAM is 8 gigabytes of DDR3, running at 2.1 megahertz, and the PlayStation 4 is also 8 gigabytes, but it's DDR5, running at 5.5 megahertz. The difference is, apart from the megahertz and the DDR5 thing, the difference is like how much RAM they allocate just for the operating system.
Yeah.
Now the PlayStation 4 has, I don't know if it's confirmed yet, but everyone's saying that 7 gigabytes of the 8 gigabytes is used for video games, and 1 gigabyte is dedicated specifically for the operating system so that it can run.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas on the Xbox, they have 5 gigabytes just for games and 3 gigabytes just for the operating system, because you can switch between games and TV and movies at any point using the Kinect. So they're using 8 gigabyte of DDR3 running at a low speed, and already they're taking 3 gigabytes away from that, so they're leaving you with 5 just for your games, which I guess would run, but
yeah,
then when you fill your hard drive full of games, it's going to go really slow, like any other computer, really.
500 gigs doesn't seem like enough for, if you're really going to put money into this system and actually get a lot of games for it, if there even will be a lot of games for it.
There's going to be
500 gigs.
5 gigs, right?
I didn't you say it was a 500 gig hard drive total for all your games, though?
500 gig hard drive.
Right.
In the first year, there's going to be 15 games.
Yeah, 15 original,
No.
like new releases, which is actually kind of nice when you think about it.
No.
If anything's going to save it.
No.
No?
15 games, 7 of those are new. The rest are games which are already out or are sequels to an existing franchise.
Are you fucking serious?
No, this is what they said in the presentation.
Are you
15 games are coming out. 15 games are coming out. 8 of those will be sequels to a previous franchise. So, like Call of Duty Ghosts, Assassin's Creed 4.
Right.
Yeah. The other 7 will be stuff like Quantum Break, new franchises. So it's 15 in total in the first year. 8 of those sequels, 7 new IPs. That's
What
what they
is-
said in the presentation.
What are you doing? Fucking
what was Rare doing during the presentation? I'm kind of curious.
locked in the dungeon.
Making connections. I don't even know.
I didn't think they even like talked about them. Like it was pretty much just like I think there was all of like 2 or 3 seconds of gameplay footage from Call of
Well,
Duty Ghost.
Yeah, but this was the presentation about the Xbox One. Everyone's expecting that they'll actually talk about the games at E3.
And that's kind of what they were saying was, you know, okay, yeah, we just wanted to give out the technical stuff. I think they were trying to combat the way that the PS4 came out, where it was just like, what are the specs it talked about? Enhanced PC GPU was what it said about the architecture on the actual conference. A local storage hard drive. Okay. So I think they were trying to be a little bit more exact about what was in it. Whereas, I mean, I like I said, I just rewatched the PS4 announcement, and you know, at the time I was thinking, you know, Xbox wins. You know, there's nothing that Xbox can do that would make the PS4 look better. And they were just like swinging for the fences trying to prove me wrong on this. I mean, just like, if half of the things we were just talking about are true, if these specs are legit, like, oh man. I mean, see, here's the problem that I have with this, is that like the graphics of consoles affect computer gamers because they're going to release games and then port them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, what is this? We're gonna have this thing for another like what, 7 years?
Something stupid like that.
Yeah, I mean,
But
like,
then the graphics of these games, they had the Call of Duty Ghost trailer. Someone took a screen cap of what they were showing, and a lot of what you can see, it's not rendered. It's all pre-rendered.
mm-hmm.
So it's already on the disc. It's not like what your Xbox is generating. And they figured this because and in the shot you can see the sun in the background, but
And
the
then the
light
light
shafts
coming-
are coming
yeah.
from the left. Yeah, so they're saying like, oh, we think they're just gonna throw post-processing effects and all these other things to make it look really shiny to try and glaze over the bits which aren't very good, like random light shafts and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just.
And then yeah, and then if you talk about the games, like I said, there was going to be 15, and 7 of those are going to be new IPs. One of them is definitely Quantum Break, which is made by the same studio that made Alan Wake. I can't actually remember that name. Like, I remembered it 10 seconds ago, and it's literally just gone now.
Yeah.
So there's Quantum Break, which is new. There's also rumored at the moment that the people who made Dead Island are going to make another one called Dying Light, which is not it's not a sequel to Dead Island, but it is very similar, and it's like a spiritual successor thing. So that's
it's
probably
about
gonna count.
zombies on an island. You were saying,
Yeah, yeah.
zombies on an
it's-
island, but it has parkour.
Yeah, basically. So it's Dead Island, but you can run and jump over things.
Oh,
But that is going to be on the next generation console, so that's probably one of the games. There's also out of the other games which are going to be sequels, Assassin's Creed 4 is going to be one of them. Then the games they showed off, which were all the sports like Madden, FIFA. I can't even remember. There was 2 more. I'm sure there was 2 more. I can't remember what they were. Then there's Call of Duty Ghosts, obviously, which everyone knows about. Now, as well, it's rumored. I don't know how accurate it is, but they're going to say there's a Mirror's Edge 2, which will be one of the launch titles or something, because that's appeared on the German Amazon by EA's official account, and then it's been taken down again afterwards. But they've done that before to get people to think about it. So they might make a Mirror's Edge 2 just to sell the Xbox even more.
And
But then a lot of these games that they release aren't entirely Xbox exclusive.
yeah, I mean, it's gonna, if Xbox will win or survive this, it's gonna have to be exclusives because they've just. I mean, we don't really know a whole lot about the PS4. Truth be told,
No.
we don't know what the damn thing looks like. We know what the controller looks like, and that it's got a share button and a touchpad. But we don't really know a whole lot about it. And I think Sony may be taking just sort of a back seat and letting like Microsoft just commit suicide.
They're just
And
letting it drown. Like
yeah,
it's just digging a hole, and the hole is eventually they're like striking water, and it's slowly
just keep
filling
digging.
up, and they're just digging, and it's just gonna drown. And
Yeah.
then they're just gonna be like, by the way, you know.
I mean, see, the thing is that they can just look at what Microsoft is doing that's bad, that people are complaining about, all these
And
things
then
that we're talking,
not
and
do
then
it.
just not do that. I
That's
mean,
pretty much what it is.
it's I don't know as if that's their plan or if that was their plan all along. They were very, very cocky before the announcement came out. They were actually tweeting about going, well, today's going to be a boring day. Nothing's really happening. I mean,
Mm.
some kind of ballsy stuff to be saying, but yeah. Hmm.
That's what it's like.
Oh, and one last thing. About on the whole backwards compatibility thing on both of these systems. The 360 is confirmed, I believe, or not the 360. The Xbox One is confirmed not being backwards compatible,
Yeah.
according
It
to The
is.
Verge. This is fairly
To be expected because of
yeah.
the way that they're doing everything else, it would be.
I mean, that's the way. I mean, that's the way they did it with the 360 as well. I mean, they were like, we're gonna have stuff sort of be, you know,
Xbox Arcade.
yeah, like, and it just nothing. They just didn't put any work into it. They just kind of like, so this time they're just not even trying. I think the PS4 is trying to do something similar to what the Xbox was doing, with the whole cloud thing they've got. I don't really know. Again, I don't really know a whole lot about that. Um, but that's just kind of how PlayStation's playing it. I mean, Sony is playing it very, very close to the belt, and it's really saving them a lot. If you look at the like top comments on the PS4 announcement video on YouTube, it's
Yeah.
just it's mostly praises. I mean, it's like people, they're just like, well, I thought this was going to be crap in comparison, but
Yeah.
wow.
Microsoft did so badly that they made everyone else look good. Do you know, like, after the press conference, the stock level of Microsoft went down, but it was so bad, the stock level of Nintendo and Sony both went up.
Yeah.
And
It was
in the
actually
UK,
going down
yeah,
from the start, and it was in response to where you can actually, if you go and look at the minute by minute of the conference, it actually goes down as he's speaking. The more he talks, the worse it gets.
yeah.
It's insane.
And
Um,
sending the other ones up as well, like in the UK on Amazon, in Amazon's portion of the UK or whatever, the Wii U has gone up in sales by 875% since that conference.
Oh my god.
I think a lot of people must have been really wanting to see just what all of them had to offer, and they're like, well, the PS4 doesn't sound all that great, but maybe Xbox will do something. I'm not going to buy a Wii U yet. And then they see that, and they're like, oh.
Where's my
Well,
gun?
I actually like video games, so I'm gonna go buy a Wii U.
Yeah.
It's like, good choice, friend.
Awkward sort of thing that might hold the Wii U back. It's the same sort of thing that happened with the original Wii, is that this thing's really freaking weird to develop for. And most of Nintendo's recent things, the Wii, the Wii U, the DS, all of these things have like some weird quirky mechanic that aren't like regular to other systems. So you pretty much have to make that game do something for that. I know Ubisoft did say with, I think it was Tomb Raider. They're saying we're not going to make a Tomb Raider port because to Wii U because it's going to be really ham-fisted and it's going to be crap. So we're just not going to do this.
Yeah.
They also, however, the day before the Xbox One's release, they were saying that, oh, this is going to be, the Wii U is going to turn it around. And then the next day, Xbox One is talked about. And I don't know if Ubisoft knew something or if that was just really well timed because, wow.
Yeah. Well, it's the way Nintendo operates though, because you have Sony and Microsoft are like rivals, and
Yeah.
Nintendo's kind of like a third wheel because they've gone down the route of, well, if we can't compete with them on the same level, let's make something that's different. So they're being more innovative, which is why they have the controller that's also a touch screen, and when you're playing Zombie U, you can see your inventory, but you can see the screen. You know, they've got lots of different things going on. Whereas the Xbox is like, let's throw in the Kinect, and then, okay, that's competing with Nintendo. Right, let's start covering the whole TV shit.
Yeah.
And then PlayStation 4 is just like, let's not be a douche. And just make
Maybe.
things.
maybe.
Well,
again,
maybe. It seems
we
it's
still,
really putting them in a better light right now, though.
it is, because basically, do you want to go with the evil you know or the evil you don't? Or just the random kind of crazy dude. I'm kind of down with the crazy dude right now. I think if someone, I was talking about this earlier, if someone just offered you, they were like, I will give you, as soon as it comes out, one of these systems, which would you guys take? I will give you this thing for free, just to have. Would you rather have the Wii U, the PS4, or the Xbox One?
It depends on if it comes with all the, like, what peripherals, like the controllers and shit, because isn't the Wii U controllers like $100 a piece, and the games are like $100 a piece?
PS4.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, let's say it comes with a controller and just the stuff for the basic running of it, you know?
I would probably go with the PS4 at this point, because like the Wii U is good, but it has its own flaws. Like there's battery life on the controller, and then you can brick it as well when you first get it and stuff. But I'd go with the PlayStation 4 because there doesn't seem to be that much on the Wii U. I mean, like there's Monster Hunter and a few other things.
A lot of developers are actually kind of shying away from the Wii U right now. Some have just said, we have the developing kit, we've just been letting it kind of collect dust. I know EA said this. I'm trying to remember, there's some other company that has said this as well, that they just really don't know what to do with this thing. So EA has come out and said, you know, according to this Times article I've got, EA isn't making Wii U games. I don't know if that, I mean, you know, it's good to see games on there. I don't like EA at all, but you know,
well, the EA is going hand in hand with Microsoft right now.
Yeah, it's
well,
very
they can both drown together because they're terrible.
It's like Microsoft is going under, and it's like, save me, EA! And EA comes along with like a brick.
they both jump in.
Yeah.
They're like, oh god, NFL, save me! And then NFL's just some fat guy in a helmet.
It's sad but true. Yeah, that's a thing. So I don't know how many more games are going to be put out on the Wii U that are going to be good. Maybe developers were kind of looking at waiting and seeing what was going to be going down with all the different consoles, and you know, I mean, what'd you say the sale percentage increase was?
Like 800%.
Yeah, something crazy like that. Maybe developers are going to be a little more inclined to develop for something that, you know, definitely has a lot more love right now than the Xbox is getting. So you say PS4, Sean. What about you, Jen?
I have a question before answering this that would kind of determine which one I would be more interested in. Obviously not the Xbox One, because that's just... No.
They're just going to fix so many things first before I can even look at the thing.
Yeah, and they probably won't. It'll just get worse. But does Sony already have some kind of thing implemented where it's kind of like an Xbox Arcade where you can download their previous titles?
Oh, they have the PlayStation Plus, I think it's called. Which is their online system.
Because I actually don't have either of these things, so I don't know about I have no idea what Sony's been doing with their systems for the since the PS2. I don't know what their online shit is like. I have no idea.
I'm very similar. I haven't been touching the damn thing.
From what I've heard, though, it's a lot kind of better. In some ways, it used to be like when the Xbox 360 first came out. It was kind of like Xbox has the better system in terms of how it works, just the shittier community because of Call of Duty, and then PlayStation, their system was worse because it got hacked really easily and then got sent down for ages. But they've got more benefits. Plus, it's free. There's no subscription service. You have a PlayStation, you can have their PlayStation Plus, and PlayStation Plus, they give out freebies like on Steam. Like at the moment, there's a free weekend on Defiance or something, and then they just had a free weekend on Chivalry.
That's
well, on PlayStation Plus, they'll go, oh, this month, this game is free to play and download for the next 3 days or something like that, and they'll give you free little small games like Steam does, little benefits just for staying with them, which people really enjoy. And
Okay. But on that, do they offer any of like their PS1 titles, for example, to buy?
don't know about PS1.
I don't know if they go that far back. I think it's probably
No.
just PS2. So I mean,
The PS2 had like the biggest library of any system, so that's pretty excellent. But I'd also be interested to see some of their PS1 games as well, because if they included that as well, like I think I would even have to get a PS4 because there's just some really good games.
They've made a lot of like remasters, like HD re-releases. I don't know if they'll put the original ones on there, but they also said that although the Xbox One doesn't have backwards compatibility, and neither does the PS4, they did say like they might make it so that you can stream the games from the PlayStation 3 on your PS4 through their cloud system. And I don't know if they do it for free, because like you might say, hey, I own this PlayStation 3 game, here's the CD key, and they'll go, alright, yeah, you can stream it and play it on your PS4. But that's their way around the backwards compatibility thing. But that's really like no one knows anything about it yet. It's just
again, we don't know a goddamn thing about Sony when it comes down to it, and Sony is looking a hell of a lot better just because Microsoft has just drowning with a brick. So yeah, I think it's fairly agreed that the Xbox is just not even a consideration until just no.
They're using the NFL to sell the Xbox into the living room, and they're using Call of Duty to sell it to gamers. But Call of Duty doesn't. Well, it
doesn't translate well across all of the demographics of the different kinds of gamers. It just translates to certain people, and not everyone is interested in that. Not everyone
and it's going to be on the PS4 too.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, the PS4.
It's multi-platform.
The PS4, their announcement, they were just like, it has a graphics card and a hard drive. But here are all these games. We've got this one. It's called Knack. It's coming out. I honestly don't really think that looks any good, but they're talking about, here are games that are exclusive to us that we're going to be putting out. Here they are. Games. They didn't really talk about much else. They were just sort of like, here's some weird social aspects that you don't care about, plus some games that you also
do care about. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Also, why must they talk about racing games like first goddamn thing whenever a console comes out? I noticed that. Like both were like, look at our shiny new racing game, and I'm like,
maybe they're more popular than you think. But with the conference, like, as they might show more games at E3, but if they do that, that means that what they showed during the press conference, they showed those two games. Well, they showed FIFA and Madden, they mentioned it, but they showed Quantum Break and they showed Call of Duty, which probably implies that those two games are the ones that they care about the most, the ones that are going to make you buy the Xbox. Even though the Quantum Break trailer, half of it was live action, and only tiny part of it, well, none of it was gameplay, part of it was cinematic. Whereas the PlayStation's just like, hey, look, we've got The Last of Us, which everyone's really loving right now from all the screenshots and all the other stuff. Though that might be coming out on the PS3, I'm not even sure. But then they have all these other games. Xbox is just like, we've got two. Oh, well, we've got some others, but, we've got these two.
We'll be talking about those later. It's just...
What would you pick, Colin?
Honestly, just because I don't like this unknown quantity, I can't honestly really consider the PS4 at this point. I'd have to go with the Wii U, just because, I mean, I don't think I'd buy one. If someone, actually gave it to me, I'd play it, but I mean, I'm not a console gamer anymore. I spent quite a bit of money on this beast of a rig that I've got, and it's going to be able to play all the games that we're going to have for the next 7 years,
Yeah.
because graphics were not that I mean, the comparison between
Spoilers.
the 360 and the Xbox One, it's am I just not understanding this, or is there just like not that huge of different? Okay, so it's 512 megabytes of memory versus 8 gigs. It's 32. Okay, so maybe it is quite a bit better, but I'm still just kind of scratching my head at this is just not the thing for me. But a Wii U, it's something that I can't get with my computer. It's something really bizarre, and
Yeah.
it could be interesting. They could put some cool stuff out, and
Yeah.
Ubisoft, they say they really want to like push that. They're saying that they really think it'll turn around. It's been having some problems, but honestly, there's probably a couple of people that are like me that are just like a little bit scared by the unknown of the PS4.
Yeah, that's the way it is. I mean, like, you'll get a better service and a much more controlled service on the PlayStation, on the PC, because you can just go, oh well, I could get this game off Steam, or Steam doesn't have this game. I could, if I want to sell my soul, I could go over to Origin and get a game there,
Ugh.
but then shit on my face at the same time, or I could just go to Green Man Gaming and GOG and various other places, and
I mean,
or I could even pirate it.
yeah,
There's so many different places you can go on the PlayStation, on the PC, and then you just have the actual control that it's your computer and you can do what you want with it, and you can mod, which is
I mean,
really good upside.
so I mean, I think it's safe to assume that we're all fairly computer gamery here. We're not much console gamers. I haven't really touched a console since I think the newest one I had was the 360, which broke. So that brings me down to a PS2, I think, or an Xbox. So I just
I'd
don't.
go with PC. The only downside is like there's some games you won't be able to play. Like I've
But
never played the Uncharted series.
yeah,
I've heard good things. Never
yeah.
played it because I never had a PlayStation 3 or a
But
PlayStation 2.
given the choice between the three, I'd say the Wii U, just because I'm hopeful that they're going to be able to do cool stuff. I like the stuff with Zombie U where you can mess around with your backpack.
As bad
Um,
as that is, but yeah.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, like, I like the idea. I think it can go places. It hasn't, but it can. And I'm scared of the PS4, honestly. I mean, I don't really know what they're doing with the touchpad, and like, just what is this?
I don't know. It just seems like Wii U, or at least I mean I still have a Wii. I actually have two of them. I have like the older version, or the one when it first came out, and then like the one that lays flat.
Mhm.
It's smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like motion controls were neat for like 5 minutes, but then when they tried to apply them to everything, they just became annoying. Like the motion controls were so gimmicky, they kind of ruined Skyward Sword for me. Like I didn't even want them anymore. I was like, can I just play this game without them? Because that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Oh.
So like, I feel like if the Wii U's gimmicks are anything like that, I don't really want that anymore. I just want a system that will put a controller in my hand, a normal controller, and will allow me to play games that way. Because I've never desired anything more than that from a gaming console.
True.
And so the PS4 is kind of maybe succeeding at that, but then they're putting a touchscreen on their controller, so I'm like, oh shit, they're going into the gimmicky stuff too. I don't know if I want this either. And then
It's a touchpad. It won't have any screen on it. I don't know what that's going to be used for. In the conference, they were using it to control the camera in a.
I don't think they were. Well,
well,
maybe. 'Cause, like
supposedly.
the Xbox One was all like pre-recorded. When he was saying like Xbox on, it wasn't actually turning on. It was
Well,
video.
yeah. I mean, even as I was watching that, I'm like, do people believe this? Do
Yeah.
people believe that he's actually turning it on with his voice? Like this.
In my mind,
this one right now.
in my mind, it just seems like Xbox is like HAL from Space Odyssey,
yeah.
and the PlayStation, assuming it is secretly evil, the PlayStation is just kind of like you know, like a family of 4 get murdered in their house, and the police detectives are like, "There's no sign of breaking and entry," and they were murdered quite violently. And then the PlayStation's just sitting in the corner room, just as an inanimate object, and they're just like, "I have no idea how to solve this murder. Well, I guess it's gonna have to remain a cold case." And then they leave, and then everyone who moves into that house gets continuously murdered, like a painting's following them around or something. Yeah, that's the way it's going in my head, but that's only if the PlayStation turns out
What's
to
the
be
Wii
secretly
U
evil.
doing? Like just
Wii U is
exercising
just
people?
like, you know, on TF2 how you have like pyro vision. That's the Wii U. Everything's just like happy over there. It's
The-
fine. There's no
the Wii-
problems.
They are
Battery life? Nah, there's no such thing as batteries. We're okay.
they're
what it's like.
trying to make some more mature games, but like
The Wii is just a giant pacifier for like 10-year-old kids.
Yeah, it does seem like a kid's thing.
I'm hoping that they'll actually do something with it, but I just don't know enough about the PS4 to really make a good assessment on it. So I'd rather go with what I know. And you know, there are a couple of cool games through Wii U, and I'm hoping that just devs are scared off of even trying to do anything with the Xbox One, and just will try and make stuff for the other 2 consoles.
It's trying too hard to be a jack of all trades home media system. Also, it's secretly stalking you and also listening to all of your voice commands,
Yeah.
which is creepy.
Yeah. Just, I can imagine it like you come home one day and your Xbox turns on, it's like she's cheating on you.
I recorded the whole thing for you on my DVR.
Xbox loves you.
Imagine like
I love you more
go
than she
on,
does.
like Rev. You're like, "What, Xbox?" And he goes, "I recorded something of you." And you're like, "What?" And he goes, "You better buy this game or I'll put it on your shirt."
Oh, it's scary.
No one must know of our secret love.
Oh, just all of the horrible things it's gonna do. But
And
yeah,
again, I have to know too, what if you're playing your Xbox and somebody walks into the room and is like, "Xbox turn off," in the middle of a game?
I don't know.
Like-
I mean,
They've
I
said,
know.
Microsoft has said that the Xbox Kinect is so good that it can actually hear your heartbeat and recognize individual voices. So it might be something like, whilst you're playing, it only recognizes your voice, but I have no idea.
I mean, I know that 360 has a thing that you can connect like your iPhone or whatever up to it, and then,
Smart Glass.
Uh,
That's
yeah.
what it's called, Smart Glass, and that's
Yeah,
going to be
you can-
very much on the new Xbox as well.
But the thing is, like, you can do that to someone while they're playing a game. I saw a picture of a person who, they were complaining that the girlfriend kept putting up pictures of cats while they were trying to play video games. Just like
Yeah.
from the other room, just suddenly a cat would appear on the TV, and they just
That happens with like other things. I mean, I know it's unrelated, but
Mhm.
the you know, Apple Macs and stuff, they
Yeah.
have Mac remotes because they like their peripherals as well. It turns out those Mac remotes
Mhm.
like aren't assigned to specific Macs. Like if you're
Oh
in a
my
room
god.
and you press like play or something on the remote, it tells your Mac and it tells every Mac in the area. So it's like,
well, no, she was
the next
intentionally
time you
trolling
go to,
this
like,
guy.
a university seminar and everyone's using their Apple Mac, just bring along a remote, and you can just do whatever, and it affects everyone. Although you might be
Oh.
able to turn it off.
I'll try to remember to do that. I need to go dig one of those up because there's always someone looking at Facebook, and I think that would be hilarious. Do you guys want to go and talk about you know, upcoming games that you guys are excited about? I think we've kind of beaten the whole console thing to death, and
Yeah.
we'll get more information later. We might have to do follow-up stuff, but you know, I think that's all we can really say for now about it. PS4 is doing, or Sony is doing a really goddamn good job at just keeping things silent for a bit because they realize that they're winning because Xbox is just
Digging
it's sort
its
of
own
like
grave.
it's like this, like it's a boxing match. Nintendo just leaves, just decides to go play like, I don't know, baseball, just
Baseball.
right before the you know, fight is supposed to begin. So then it just leaves the two of them, you know, Sony and Microsoft in the ring. And Sony, you know, is all ready for a fight, and then Microsoft just starts beating the hell out of itself and just hits the mat, and then Sony's just like, What? That's just, I don't know. I hate to sound so critical of it because I feel like that sounds like I'm biased, but what?
Well, I mean, the
Imagine
thing
the
is,
EA and the NFL are the two judges just like tapping out, going, "He's winning, he's winning,
yeah,
he's unconscious, but he's winning."
he's still in this race. Don't.
It's like, this isn't even a race, this is boxing.
Yeah.
Fucking EA, what are you doing?
He doesn't know shit about sports. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but okay. Video games that you're excited about. I actually need to go and get Last Light at some point and actually, like, stream that.
I've already played and finished that. Really like it's it's
was
kind of
good?
different from the first one in some
Oh.
ways. It's good with the story.
Mm.
Like, it doesn't ruin it or anything. It sticks. I don't know how true to the books, but it is a good story to like play, and it's kind of makes you think about some things. It works around with like messages and values and stuff. The gameplay itself is quite good.
Yeah, I've seen some bits of it. I mean, it's got gas masks, so I'm of course interested. Um,
The gas masks are better. Like, you can wipe shit off your face now. It's awesome. Like, you
Yeah.
can tap it or something, it cleans your face. And it's immersive. That's the thing which was so good about the first Metro, just being so atmospheric. It was great.
yeah,
And it's like that in this one.
I love games that do that. Shadows of the Colossus, just anything that I can just like turn off the lights and just throw myself into the game and just be about that. But so yeah, I definitely need to get that and stream that soon. But so there's that, and then what are you guys looking forward to?
Do you want to go, Jen, or?
Well, speaking of turning off the lights and immersing yourself into a game entirely, you have no idea how excited I am for the new Amnesia to come out. A Machine for Pigs, I believe is what it is called. It was supposed to come out like last year during Halloween or something. So I was reading, as like an experiment of some kind, not like a legit game, but apparently, well, it's a legit game now. And I think it's supposed to come out during second quarter of this year, whenever that exactly is.
It's yeah, somewhere that would make it soon.
Yeah, I mean,
Either this month or next month.
yeah. So I'm really excited because if they do as good as they've been doing as far as making games that will scare your pants off, then I think it's going to be great because they really were able to set the mood in the previous game, as well as Penumbra. I didn't actually get to play Penumbra, but I have seen it streamed before, and it's terrifying as well. So I'm super excited for that because I love to be scared. So can't
They've
wait.
done that quite well. Like, when they started off with Penumbra, and then they did 3 games of that, and each one was a bit different from the last, and then they seemed to make it in some ways better as it went along. And then they did Amnesia, which was just like a huge step up. If they do like before, this game will be better than Amnesia in some ways.
We can hope
Hopefully,
so.
yeah.
I really hope that they sort of have the same kind of formula because it's like that feeling of helplessness. They just captured it so perfectly in the last game, since you didn't have any way to defend yourself really, except for like running away and sitting in the corner and crying profusely.
They had that,
I definitely need to try these games. I have not touched any of them. I have them. I own them.
You've never played Amnesia.
Haven't
really?
played Amnesia. Haven't played Penumbra.
God,
They-
you should. You
I-
should
I
stream
sh-
yeah,
yourself.
you should.
playing
Well,
Amnesia.
it's been streamed to
Not
death.
not even on Vine Sauce. Just
Yeah.
I would watch you play that game because do you get scared easily?
I think there's only been like one video game in recent memory that actually kind of scared me.
What game was it?
Oh god. Okay. Weird as hell, but the first half of Silent Hill Homecoming was actually kind of scary for me because I felt
I streamed that game.
I felt
I
fairly
remember you
defenseless.
streaming that game.
I
I
felt
felt
fairly
like-
defenseless the first half, but as soon as I started getting guns, I just had so much ammo. Like, I don't know where I was putting it. And it was just
Yeah.
like it just lost all of its appeal at that point.
Okay, well,
I can understand that. Yeah.
if you're scared, if the feeling of helplessness scares you, then Amnesia will scare you the entire game through because you never get any way to defend yourself.
Okay, good.
You're completely helpless. The only way that you can save yourself from your inevitable fate is by running like a little bitch and finding a corner to stop grossly in for 10 to 20 minutes until you decide to brave the depths and horrors of the castle you're being contained in. So,
All right. Well, I'll look into it then. I definitely
Try it.
need to play it just because it's one of those games. You know, it's just a game that you're supposed to play.
it's just really good.
Sean, anything you're
Yeah.
excited about?
Oh, well, you know, there's a few games which are meant to be coming out. Like the one I'm playing at the moment is the expansion for Red Orchestra 2, which is Rising Storm, and you can pre-order that now on Steam, and you get access to the beta. And you get 2 keys along with it, so you can give it is effectively a copy of the game, but
Oh.
only the beta. You can give 2 copies to whoever you want if you pre-order the game now, and they'll be able to play it with you. That game itself, it's Red Orchestra 2, but it's set in the Pacific, so it's Iwo Jima, Guadalcanal, Saipan, that sort of thing. And
Right.
it's the Japanese versus the Americans, but you have different weapons, and it's unbalanced, but balanced gameplay is in each side has different equipment. Like, the Allies are generally more powerful. They've got automatic bar rifles, and they have flamethrowers, but the Japanese have mortars, and they have suicide bombs as a weapon,
Mhm.
which is also part of their unique side. As in, you can take a grenade and you start cooking it, and if you run out and it explodes in your hand and kills you, but kills someone else, you don't actually lose any points, and the enemy team does,
Oh wow.
because it's counted as a suicide kill. And you can get a katana as well, and you can do a bonsai charge, which is like really fun, but sometimes really bad idea. But I've been playing that, and that's fun. And That's
Okay.
on Steam.
And that's made
But
by
the
the
other
people who
game-
made Killing Floor, right?
Oh, it is, yeah. It's kill switch, trip switch. Something like that.
Yeah.
Tripwire.
There you go. Tripwire.
Tripwire.
Yeah.
Tripwire. That's what it is. I got it.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it started out as a mod though.
Yeah.
And they just went, you know what, we like this, let's buy it, and took it
Yeah.
off. The other game I've been following though is this real-time strategy game called Banished, which is kind of like, what did we say it was like before? It was like black and white combined with another game.
Minecraft sort of aesthetic, I think you were saying, or
That sort of thing.
I
yeah.
think I think that's what I saw. It could just be because it's in like beta. I think, right?
It's in alpha at the moment, but he hasn't
Okay.
released anything you can play.
Right.
It is the entire thing is made by I want to say a studio called Shining Rock Software. That's their website, shiningrocksoftware.com. But it is literally just one guy,
right.
no one else. He is the only person working on this, and he's had offers of like people saying, "Hey, can I help you out?" And he's like, "No, I only want to do this by myself."
Mhm.
And the guy himself has said that he is a console developer, that he works for some companies or has worked in the past to develop games for consoles or consoles themselves. And he has experience in all different fields, but lacking a little bit in art and animation, but he's better in like actual coding and stuff like that. So he's doing this all on his own in his spare time as a little challenge. And he said that the release date at the moment is set mid to late 2013.
Okay.
So like I've
Soon.
seen it at the moment, soon hopefully, yeah. I've seen it at the moment, and he's got like a good chunk of it working. But it's still in alpha and he's still testing things. But he releases on his website, he has a development blog that you can follow, and he's just put like pumpkins in the game and a few other things. But anyway,
And it's an alpha, so if it looks like Minecraft, that's fine.
it's
alpha.
it's a strategy thing. but
Yeah,
it's the idea of Minecraft resource.
Right. I mean, definitely go look at it because the description really doesn't do it any justice. Us trying to describe it the way it is, it just makes it sound weird.
Well, it's like
it's good.
it's good. It's like it's about you play as a bunch of farmers or whatever, but it's a top-down real-time strategy thing. You can't actually control it. But
Right.
they are banished, hence the name, from their old village. So they move to this new area and they have to start a village from scratch. But because there's no currency, because it's only like 8 people, there's no currency in it. It's all about how you manage resources and preparing for real-world situations, because it's kind of like realism. For example, like you can make your people go logging and you'll collect loads of wood so that in the winter you've got wood to burn so that you'll keep them warm. But you also need to make sure that you have enough resources of like sheep's clothing, wool, stuff like that, cloth, so that you'll be able to make clothing. But you also need to make sure you have herbs so that you can fight off sickness. And then every once in a while, a trader will come through, and you'll be able to trade with him for more exotic goods. But if you do, then you run the risk of getting foreign diseases and various other things. So it's very much like you can build anything from scratch.
That almost sounds like
a
a Dwarf Fortress in a way.
That's what I was gonna say. A little bit like Dwarf Fortress, yeah.
Yeah, except for
said
it has graphics.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, yeah, it has top-down graphics. But he said, yeah, you can make anything from the beginning. The biggest building he has at the moment is the town hall. But you can just go like, well, if you've got enough wood and stuff, you can build a town hall. You know, there's no other requirements. But it's all about keeping your population alive and keeping them happy. And they do grow old. It's like black and white. Each one has a name, and they have families, and they have kids, and they will eventually grow old, and they'll die. And their kids will grow up and grow old and die. So you've got to keep them alive and keep them happy. Yeah?
Yeah, that sounds good, man.
It does, like, from what I've seen, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've seen some gameplay footage, and it does look like it's, you know, alpha, but it looks like the guy actually has a vision that looks pretty interesting, so that's definitely worth looking out for. Did you have anything for the green light stuff, or did you
There's
mainly want
that
to highlight that?
Stonehearth game, but I don't know much about that. That's like voxel-based co-op real-time strategy / RPG. Like,
Okay.
I think you build some sort of town. I've got to look it up, but
Okay.
I think you can like build a town or something, but you can go into other people's towns and work together to build something, kind of like in a Minecraft way. But you also have an RPG, like you control one character and you get a. I'm not really sure. I'm just bullshitting at the moment. I need to look it up.
It's fine. The two. I mean, I've so far voted yes on 3 different things on Greenlight. I don't really know why they have a no function, because it's just like no one will vote yes if they don't. Anyway, all of them except for one have gotten greenlit. You know, I've talked to the people from this game called Riot, which is going to be on basically everything ever. It's going to be on the phone. It's going to be on Steam. It's going to be, you know, I did email the people making it, because it basically sounds like it's a some sort of weird tactical, I guess, strategy game. It's really hard to get a feel for what it is, because they've only got one real video of it, and then they've got screenshots from that video. But it's a pixel-based game where you manage, I think, either side of a protest, either the rioters or the police, and you try to, you know, achieve whatever their objective is. And it looks good. I messaged the dev and asked him if he wanted to do an interview. He emailed me back almost immediately. It sounds like it's him and maybe his friend or something. And they seem interested, but at the time, this was before it was greenlit, so a while ago, they hadn't gotten really far enough into the game making it to really want to like come and show it off. But hopefully he'll remember that. You know, I offered what little expertise I have in that area if he wanted it as well. So we'll see. We'll see if he.
That could be cool.
That could be cool. Octodad 2 basically is coming.
Oh yeah,
That's
that
coming
game.
out. I love that game. So that got greenlit. So that was another one I wanted. What was the name of it? Legend of Dungeon. That one that Robot Loves
Vinny
Kitty.
loves.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
that I voted on, and then the last one is what is the name of this game? God, I'm gonna feel bad about this. Did you have one, Jen? While I go and look up what the name of this game I like is.
I was just gonna say the Guns 2, the Second Duel, or whatever the hell they're calling it. Like, I'm not that I'm completely hard set on this game becoming greenlit, but just for, I don't know. I have like huge nostalgia goggles. I mean, I know we already talked about it. The game is like, it could be such shit at times. At least the first one, anyway. But maybe they'll make the second one better.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of love that game. I don't know why, but I would like to see it greenlit. I would play it.
I mean, it's such a horrible game, but I love it, and that's so weird.
I know. It's.
I mean, it's like I learned how to K-style. I tried to learn how to do, what was it called? J style.
Jeez, yeah.
Could not do it, and it wasn't as popular because it doesn't involve butterflying. It was just one of those games. It just had a very predatory uh, buying system, but it was just like I get to be in the Matrix.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it just feels cool to play because when you're doing stuff, it's kind of like Devil May Cry in the way that it's like when
Yeah,
you kill people, you want to run up the side of a wall and like flip upside down and shoot them, and then you feel awesome if you kill them that way. Just like it makes you feel like a badass while you're playing it. I guess that's why I like it.
yeah,
And the music is excellent.
yeah. Let's see, what was Homesick. Homesick is the other game I was talking about that I wanted to see greenlit. Mostly because it looks really pretty. I know that's just like completely against any reason that I normally say. But it's sort of it's like you're in this abandoned building. You're a caretaker of sorts. It They say they got a lot of inspiration from Myst
Ooh,
and
What,
Monkey
the movie?
Island. No,
that's really cool.
the game.
Oh. I was gonna say the movie's like,
They wanted to do like a first person Myst basically that you actually had to move around rather than use the weird arrow key thing. And I liked Myst as a kid, but I was running it on this Apple that whatever that one that looked like a pizza box was, and it just lagged so horribly. I've never beaten Myst because I couldn't get past this one puzzle because it was time based, and my computer lagged so much I could not run to where I needed to go in the very beginning of the game in enough time.
Do you remember
So,
the loading times on that
oh
that
yeah,
game? Man, that was like
but
hours.
definitely check out that just so you can see what I'm talking about because it is kind of vague the way I'm putting it. But so we're talking about like guns. We're talking to the game. Homesick, Riot. Um, was it Banished?
vanished. Yeah.
And then that other game. Did you have a chance to look that up more? Or
Oh, Stonehearth.
yeah,
You know what? I had it open, and then I thought we were moving on to something else, so I closed it. But I can open it right now because it's in my closed tabs. Because thing.
that's good.
Chrome.
Um,
Stonehearth. They said it was a real-time strategy RPG. Stonehearth simulation and city building aspects are inspired by Dwarf Fortress and Minecraft. Altogether, you should end up with like randomly generated destructible worlds built in voxel. Created buildings on both large and small scales, from cities to teacups, scripted RPG style content to discover and adventure through, robust class trees for combat and civilian units, real-time strategy style combat with emphasis on tactics over micromanagement. So there is like an RPG element, but I think it's more like King Arthur rather than an actual character you control.
right. Okay.
Either way, that sounds cool.
That could be
Like
cool. Yeah.
both of them sound really cool. I'm,
Yeah, I've
I'm
seen photos of Stonehearth and it looks really good, but
Yeah.
anything that's like Dwarf Fortress really interests me. The only thing about Dwarf Fortress is like the learning curve is so ridiculous.
I like seeing people who know what they're doing play Dwarf Fortress. I don't actually like to play it. The same thing. I like to hear Dwarf Fortress stories like I like to hear like EVE Online stories. I don't want to play the goddamn game, but I love to hear about like the crazy crap that happens in it.
I've
Yeah.
heard all sorts from like EVE Online. You know, they're making a TV show because of some of the stories they've heard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like
Yeah. And
I've
they're
heard
asking
some.
for people to submit stories to this
Yeah.
that way they can work on it. That sounds. It could be good. My cousin was actually asking me. I posted up on Facebook a graph that showed Sony stock and Microsoft stock after that whole thing, and he was like, "Do video gamers actually look at stocks?" And I'm like, "Well, the ones that play Eve do. That's for sure."
Oh god, EVE is so
Oh yeah.
about like I want to say words, which would probably be offensive. I can't. But it's a lot about numbers, if you catch my drift. But you find like one of my friends plays it, and he spends more time like looking at stats than he does actually playing the game, and he plays it more on his phone than he does actually at his computer, because you can choose what skills you research and stuff on your phone, and then it takes an actual amount of time to do it. Like you'll say 18 hours. It's realistically 18 hours.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
yeah, some of the stories on EVE though are crazy. Like
Oh yeah.
I heard there was one point a bunch of people like got together and committed like an act of terrorism. Like they just went to a galaxy and just shot it. Like the
Yeah.
entire galaxy. They just went to various key points and just started shooting on everyone. Like the other groups, the the computer players, everything. They just started blowing it out the water. And then there was another guy who, a couple of years ago, like started up a bank or something
Oh
where he
yeah.
loaned you money, and yeah, so that got like really popular because he offered a good service and was actually kind of like trustworthy. And he got to the point that he had people working under him and people working under them in like their own little groups, selling and taking money and storing it for people, and he became like central to Eve. He was the bank. And then one day he just walked in and just took all the money, bought the most big ass ship he could, flew off into deep space, put a bounty on his own head for like a couple of million or whatever, and just said, "Come kill me if you want to try." And then everyone was bankrupt, but he's allowed to do it because he had the
Yeah,
access and everything.
I mean, the people who run the company actually said, no, that actually is a legit way of playing this game,
Yeah.
which is bizarre but cool. But we've been going for a while. Why don't we go and wrap this up because I don't want to ramble too much. But I think this is good. Anyway, thank you guys for, I guess, listening. I always say watching whenever I'm streaming. Thank you for listening. If you like this, please just let us know how we can actually do this right next time, because I have a feeling that we probably fucked up at least like 80 times.
I've sat through.
Give us
my
constructive.
time is just 90 minutes, but how long it is, I don't know if it's going to
Yeah.
be 90 minutes. But you know, if you downloaded it and listened to it, and you're
Yeah.
still listening now, then
Yes.
I kind of want to praise you. I also kind of want to tell you off, but you
Yeah.
know.
I mean, it's kind of weird that you decided to listen to us like ramble on about this for like what 90 minutes you were saying, somewhere
Yeah,
around
that's
there.
what it's on now. Just ticked over.
Cool.
It's gonna be less.
But yeah, definitely. Let us know what you think of the just kind of style we've got. We were thinking about also maybe talking about a couple of different things. We want to talk about whatever, like, I don't know when the hell we're doing this next, but if we do and when we do, we want to try and talk about some like more less time sensitive thing, in addition to whatever the important thing of the week is. Like, you know, this week it's been the Xbox One announcement and the console war and all of that. So I don't know, feminism and gaming, console crash, or just gaming crisis crash like back in the 80s, if that's possible again. DRM, you know, just yeah, let us know what you're thinking so that way we can try that. We obviously need to improve this because this is, you know, maiden voyage, and you've been listening to us rant for 90 minutes. Any last words?
Yeah, no, like, tell us what you think of the podcast and any ideas that you might have for us, because we'll take criticism, because you know everyone's better than us.
Yes.
Well, me.
Yeah.
And yeah,
True
so
that.
we'll make a thread about it, and you can talk and say what was good about it, say what was bad about it. We'll try and improve the podcast in the future based on what you say and what everyone else generally thinks. And also, if you've got anything to contribute to it, you know, like we need a theme tune, or you know,
I
stuff
think
like that.
Kami did say he was working on that, and hopefully, if you heard a theme tune, someone made it.
It's kind of like, if you hear it, like, didn't exist when we're saying this, but it does now. So.
It does now, and thank you to
Whoever did
Creator.
it.
yeah. It's
Created
in the
lovely
description.
theme tune.
It,
You know,
it
I
will
really
be
like
there.
the guitar, and
Yeah, well, the guitar, because it may or may not have sounded like a guitar.
I
Yes.
I want to believe it. The drums could.
Yes, the sounds, the audio was existent.
I generally like the way that my ears continue to function throughout.
Yes.
It was good.
It was good.
Good.
I feel like it set a good tone for this. Anyway, let's go ahead and leave it on that really awkward note, I guess. Jin, do you have any last words? I kind of almost skipped over you there.
Are we leaving links for everyone if they're curious about where we actually got this information, and if they want to look into it? Then I assume
That's going to be all down. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's all going to be down on the description. If you go there, I'm going to try and put them in order, and I'm going to try and put everything if I forget something, I'm sorry. I might actually even throw more crap in there that we don't actually need, just because I'm lazy and might overdo it a bit. But you can, totally look at our sources and tell us that we're shit.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I don't know about these two, but like, feel free to contact me about anything if there's anything you want to hear us talking about, or any of the things they've already mentioned. Feel free to contact me.
Yeah, I mean,
On
I'd be down
Skype
for that.
or whatever.
And we're not totally sure what the lineup as far as who's going to be here. Ima unfortunately couldn't make it this week, but in the future there might be other Fine Sauce people, and we'll just kind of keep it going as long as it's fun and as long as it's actually good and all of that. But anyway, I'm Rev, and these are people.
Hi.
Well, if you want to call us that.
This is the part where you say your name.
Jen?
You're not Jen, I'm Jen.
No, wait.
Fuck it, this has been Vinecast. Thank you for watching, listening,
for
whatever the hell it
listening.
is. Goodbye.
Have a nice day, goodbye.
I'm sorry.
Sean! See ya!
Bye.